Hey there, guys. It's Mia here, and I am so excited. I am usually excited, but I'm super excited today because I've got incredible guests here, and you're going to have the opportunity to meet them. Tonight is our results incubator. And I thought it would be fabulous if you had the opportunity to not only hear me talk about my clients, which I do all the time, but if you had an opportunity to just to step inside their mindset. These women are incredible. I'm going to ask them both to go on mute until I call you, just so there's no background noises or rattling. These women are absolutely incredible. And I can tell you that they've had the ability to create amazing results. Um, in a relatively short period of time, whether it's mindset, whether it's building a product, whether it's monetizing. But I think what's really important is to be able to step inside of someone's thought process to understand how can I translate this for myself. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant. I started my company over 20 years ago, and that's exactly what I needed. I needed to know how in the world could I take my knowledge as a corporate trainer, my systems in motherhood, and package those into a high level monetizable product on or offline. And I wasn't sure how I would get started doing that, but I decided that I could do it. And I want you to know, if you're listening right now, I know that this show is going to inspire you because you can do it. Even if you don't know what the product is right now. Hey, Paula, even if you don't know what the product is right now, even if you're already in business, maybe as a coach or a consultant, and you aren't as profitable as you would like to be, you can still do it. And it's likely the smallest thing that's in the way of you knowing exactly what your next step is that can change every single thing. I know that was true for me. Maybe you are selling to clients one-on-one, or maybe you are, a professional and you're trading time for dollars, and your earning is capped because you can't add any more patients on your schedule, and you're just trying to figure out, man, with all this education, with my background, with my gifts and talents, what are the other options for me? We're going to talk about those tonight. I'm so excited about having the opportunity to bring on rock stars. And when I say a rock star, you're a rock star, okay? Sometimes we're rock stars and we don't know that we are. Who they're going to share their journey with you. And the coolest thing is they're authentically doing what they love to do, being themselves and showing up in giant and bigger ways. And it's just an honor for me to have the great fortune to work with women who I call giants. And I only work with giants. And I'll just say this, and then we'll jump into the best part here. A giant is a person who knows inside of them they're meant to create impact with their gifts and their talents. Now, you might not have the how, that's okay. But you are a giant because if you think about the places you've traveled, whether it's at work, the experiences you've had, whether it's in your neighborhood or in your community or in some group or in some business dealings, and whenever you give your advice, whenever you show up, you create and shift the room, you create an impact and change things. And so you see it happening over and over again. I call it the echo, but you're trying to figure out, how do I take those things, those gifts, and how do I package those things into a product? That's what we're going to talk about tonight with giants who've done exactly that. So enough of me sharing. I want to introduce our guest. And the way I think that's best for us to introduce our guests is I'm going to have them introduce, they're going to say their name, right? Lisa, I want you to come on first. And you're going to say your name, tell them who you are, what you do, who you serve. And then I would like you to say, what's the impact that you create? We're just going to have a conversation tonight. So hop on.
Hello, it is so good to be here. I'm so excited. She has everyone so excited and saying so excited. So I'm Dr. Lisa Summerour. I'm the Chief Engagement and Empowerment Officer. So I'm a CEO of Summerour and Associates and the founder of Live Empowered Institute. What I do is help people step into their greatness. I help people understand how they're showing up and how their energy is impacting work, home, their love life, their everything in their life. So I'm helping people find a holistic way to step into everything that they are, all of their uniqueness, their talents, their gifts, all of those intangibles that we don't see on a resume, because those are the things that really determine how folks are going to rise. It's the intangibles. It's not always ways those things we can see. And what I'm focusing on with every one of my clients is finding the paths to empowerment. And there are more than one. I'm one of those eclectic people. There isn't one path to being empowered. I truly believe that empowered people empower other people. And so I'm creating an army of empowered people so that we can all learn to live our best lives and lead our best selves forward.
I love that. And absolutely, what I think is so cool is that you embody your message. You're authentic. You're true to who you are. It's just been an honor to have the opportunity to watch you on your journey. And what I would love for you to share is, how is it that you're able to show up authentically as yourself? Meaning to be able to trust yourself just to launch or to start. How is it that you were able to do that?
Mia, it's been 7 months, I think, since I started working with you. And folks, I have a wall of degrees, and I have the bills to prove that they're actually mine. And I'm proud of all of my education. It was a wonderful thing. But I went back to school pretty late. And so I fast got 4 degrees. And so I was pretty comfortable with who I was. I have had I tell people I am living a wonderful life. Like, I'm serious. If you saw my resume, you would be like, what? Really? For real? I sometimes still look back and go, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. But I still knew that inside there was more. There was more, that I hadn't really tapped into the deepest part of how I could show up in this world. And I also learned that I was spending a lot more energy helping other people live their dreams. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, except when it's at the expense of me living mine. And so I needed somebody that was going to say, no, you can be a giant for you. Because if I don't serve the world in the capacity that I was designed to serve the world, then that's what the world misses. And this is what I also teach my clients. But I needed somebody to pour that into me. And so stepping into the giant circle is what did it for me. It's easy to show up authentically when you learn to just breathe. It's just easy. It's like, it's not me working to be something or somebody else. It's just me getting up every day going, what is it that feels right for me? What are the things that have been circulating in my mind forever? And I just haven't stepped into doing them. And so I'm doing things that feel natural for me that I just haven't pushed myself to do, or it had the encouragement or the support and the camaraderie and more giants. So I'm surrounded by giants, and it truly changes the way I think about things during the day. People are probably going, we did not get coached. I didn't even know what the questions were going to be. But that's what's real for me. And I talk to other people about it to let them know, no, I have a group, I have a class basically every Tuesday night. I tell them I'm going to school because I get as much out of this as I got out of these degrees. They don't teach you this in school.
Well, I love this. I want to bring Angeline into the conversation, and then we can all just kind of bounce back and forth. Angeline, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
My name is Angeline Geneva, and I am a creative solutions business strategist. And what I do is to help people identify strategic ways to create opportunities, create additional income streams in their business, and help them to turn purpose into profit. I believe, just like she said, that being authentic, being exactly who you are, doing exactly what I was created to do is what allowed me to walk into a lane of success that I would not ever have been able to walk into before. And one thing that I also realized is that a lot of people come to me for that. I learned as part of being a part of the Giant Circle. One of the things, Mia, that you asked early on is, what is the one thing that people constantly come to you for? What solution are you providing for them? And what type of reaction do you get? And when I thought back on that, the biggest reaction is a lot of times people would just cry. They're like, oh my God, they just didn't see their potential. They didn't see themselves in a giant way, and they didn't have the worthiness to believe that they could actually walk into that. So as on my own personal journey of doing that for myself, I was able to grab other people and pull them along. And then I realized this is a skill, this is a gift. And I believe that your gift makes room. So in effort to just be who I authentically am, do what I naturally do, and just allow that purpose to just step beyond that fear, because it was scary as all get out. But to step beyond that, my life has just never been the same.
Okay. So I love that because I think people listening are in the exact same place, right? You're wondering like, is there room for my gift? Maybe you are afraid to start. Maybe you've started already and you didn't have the success that you desired. And I find a lot of times when we're exceptionally professional in our professions, that it's difficult to make that transition to be vulnerable to try something where you might fail because you're dealing with like what are people going to think, like what if I start this thing and and you already have visibility and credibility and you are wondering, you don't want to give yourself that room for making mistakes. So I want to just shoot that question out here and say, how did you guys overcome this? I don't know if this is something that you did overcome because I didn't give you the questions, we're just having a conversation, right? But how did you overcome like just starting, because you both are credible, you both are successful prior, to us all working together. So what made you start?
You want to go?
We're pointing with, no, I'm going to let you go first since I started the last round.
Okay. So for me, it was almost a push. So during COVID, my husband and I my passion has always been to give, to serve. And I have a lifelong history and generational history of being servants in the community, working a lot with the church, doing a lot of missions work. That's just what I passionately love to do. My husband loves to cook. So during the pandemic, he was furloughed from his job. So during that time, there were so many people afraid to step out and to come because it was terrifying. People, the rates, the surges of COVID. So we just decided, I want to still be able to serve and bring people together. We started preparing meals and taking them first to essential workers in our immediate family. We didn't have to go far, but my cousin and my sister-in-law that work at the hospitals, it's like, how many people are on your shift? We're going to bring you guys some food just to say, we love you. I know that you're facing this. You're scared too. And as a community, we're rallying together. It gave people at home a sense of connection because we really couldn't connect, but they could order on Amazon and have something delivered to my house, and I prepared it here and we just did it. Well, when he lost his job and people were like, this food is really, really good. I'm having, a small event at my house, or, can you cook for my mom, or can you cook for, have this delivered to them? And we started making profit from that. But it was just our natural gift. And for us, it was almost a necessity because it just kind of evolved. We didn't have a business plan. We just had a unemployed person in the household and one income instead of two. And then once we started doing that, and it was like, maybe we can do this. What if we actually live to our highest, tallest self? What if we actually step out and try to be everything that we were created to be? What would our life really look like? So then being a part of the giant circle, it was just the belief that this is possible. So I worked in finance for a brokerage company for 15 years, always played it safe, very successful in my career, and totally unfulfilled. The biggest part of my job was that I loved was being able to help people. But outside of that, the day end, it was so mundane. I just felt like I was stifled, but I would never have just stepped out and just, I'm going to go chase my dream. But life happened. And in the middle of COVID, we morphed that gift of serving and preparing meals for people and established a restaurant, which is one of the highest fatality rate industries. And especially during COVID, capacity went down. It was like complete opposite of what you really, what society would say to do. But we were able to start and launch a successful business in the middle of COVID. And the drive for me came out of life just pushing my back against the wall. And once we stepped out, he initially did it because he was unemployed. And then shortly after that, I left my job and we just jumped in.
Awesome. So Lisa,
Wow.
what gave you the courage to say yes? Like, let me just start going for my dream, in opposed to, I would say, settling, right, for that smaller dream. What allowed you to launch?
This is so interesting because we've got a lot in common, and but with this, we came at it from opposite ends. You were pushed. I've been chasing this forever. I've been taking calculated risks since 14. I was an Avon lady. I convinced a woman to let me do Avon. Started taking me to her meetings, and I had a 4 block Avon ding dong ring the doorbell Avon lady at 14, 15 years old. I have always wanted to have my own business. I think at 12 years old, it dawned on me two things: that I didn't have to change my name if I ever got married, and that I didn't have to work for somebody the rest of my life and wait to get a watch like my grandfather did. And so what spoke to me though, Mia, was listening to you one day, because I've always had these other jobs. I've always had another way to make income. I had the 9 to 5, but I've always had something that I felt like was mine. When I heard you say it's not a, and I, you know what, the word is going to leave me now because it's starting to leave my vocabulary, side hustle. And you said, I don't use that term.
Right.
I'm about business, and I'm about giants, and I'm about teach. And when I heard that, everything clicked for me. So this for me was an intelligent, calculated risk, right? Because it was me taking a risk on me. It's me experimenting with my life. It's what I teach other people to do or encourage other people to do. Take a calculated risk on yourself. What is it that's inside of you that if you don't get it out, the world is going to truly miss it? And even if it's just one person on this planet that need it, it's our responsibility to tap into it and get it out. And I had to do that with me before I could teach other people to do it with them. And what happened though was this helped me identify that I had been doing it with me.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you need somebody to hold the good mirror up, because people are always saying, hold the mirror up, and it's not for positive. Sometimes you need somebody to hold a positive mirror up for you to look in and go, oh, okay. So it was being okay, whether it was scary or there was fear, none of that mattered. It was being okay taking an intellectual, an intelligent, calculated risk on me being everything that God had determined me to be, and saying, do I want to leave here fulfilling that?
Yeah.
Or do I want to leave here and be in my last breaths going, man, what if? And my grandmother said, you don't want to get to the end of your life and be talking about what if. Just do it all.
I think this is interesting because a lot of times, I know I have a lot of people that watch this channel, and I'm so excited about this conversation because I know a lot of times people know exactly what it is that they're called to do. Just like you said, Lisa, Angeline, you knew that you were living a life of quiet desperation. Lisa, you knew that there was more for you. You were meant to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of times we know, we hear that voice in our hearts, in our souls every single day when we get up to go to work each and every day, and we huff and we puff, or we drag, or we complain, or whatever that looks like, or we just feel unfulfilled. And some people take action and some people don't. Like, there are people who actually live with that feeling of quiet desperation. And I think that, what's the one thing that you'd say, and this is just like just an observation, and one thing that you did that allowed you to say yes to yourself quickly? Because both you and Angeline came to the Giant Experience Master Training, I believe. Okay.
I did.
Um,
I did.
so, and there are lots of women who watch me who would benefit from that Giant Experience Master Training, but they just watch each and every week, or they've been watching since August 2020 when we first held the Giant very first Master Training. They've watched all of the results over and over again, which are real. Okay. They've watched it, but they haven't said yes to themselves. What is it that allowed you to go from being a spectator to showing up active in your life? Like, what is that? Who wants to go first?
You know, they say people can be afraid of success and people can be afraid of failure. And then I think some people are just afraid of moving. And if you don't move, you stagnate. You will grow roots where you are, and you should be growing branches. You know, you just shouldn't just be roots.
That's
and
good.
For me, it was just enough already. Just do it. How many other people are you going to help achieve their goals? And that's honorable. Don't get me wrong. I've done missionary work too. So we have that being a servant, but you will serve from a more dynamic and more powerful place when you are truly living into your greatness. What you are able to do for other people will be enhanced tenfold if you are really doing it for yourself. Otherwise, your service can deplete you. And I didn't want to keep being depleted. And I didn't want to keep waking up every day with that little bug in the back of my head or these ideas. See, if you want to know when it's time, keep going to work for somebody else and seeing how frustrated you are every day by lunch. They don't listen to me. I have all these great ideas. I don't know why my boss just doesn't appreciate me. They don't respect me. That's not their fault. That's you. You need to decide, I need to have something that's actually mine, and then I have autonomy over it, and then I get to build it and create it the way I want. And then this doesn't become a stressor in my life. You can still serve other people with a clear heart and a clear mind because your energy is not going 100% to somebody else's thing. So for me, it's Nana again, sick and tired of being sick. And I wasn't even really sick and tired. I just knew I wasn't fulfilling my highest calling. And that started to scare me. So if you're a person of faith and you know that God has put something in you and you are not answering that call, what is that about? What is that about?
Absolutely.
That's good. And Angeline?
So for me, what I honestly believe is that from my experience, I have a daughter. I was a foster parent. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I have, my parents are older. And for me, and I believe for a lot of other women, we find pride in being able to be the nurturer, the provider, the go-to. And if my daughter said to me, I want to become whatever, XYZ, and it's going to cost this amount, I wouldn't think twice about it, because for her, I want the very best. I want her to experience every opportunity. I want to make sure that I make the investment into her. If it's for my husband, I'm all in without question. As soon as a person says to me that I care about and I love, that's in my immediate circle, this is what I want to do, I go all in to support them, to make sure that they make that reality, they make that dream a reality. But for me, for some reason, I didn't have the belief that I can make that same investment into myself without guilt. Because a lot of times women, moms, will give everything that we have to our children, everything that we have to our husbands and to family, and then there's really nothing left for us. And the priority for us is at the back end of the list instead of at the front. So I decided, that term I learned in being in either the giant experience or the giant circle. I'm not sure which one, but it's okay to make that investment into myself. I never did that before. It was always an investment, Lisa, like you said, for everybody else. But I just decided, you know what? It's not going to be the cheerleading, because if any mom that has kids knows every sport, the cheers, you will spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on camps or whatever. And I don't even care. I want to do that because I love her. But do I love me that much to say it's okay to spend this amount of money to invest just into me, to make me a better person, a better mom, a better wife, or I can be better, Lisa, as you said, for them when I made the investment into myself. Being a part of that giant experience helped me to wrap my mind around that concept of investment. So for that's what did it for me.
So it's interesting because your family, actually, they're the benefactors of your growth. And this is one of the things that I've learned over the years. I'm unapologetic about what I invest in myself because it allows me to show up 100% for my kids. I mean, being able to be at all the games and being able to be the kind of wife I wanted to be, to date my husband in the middle of the afternoon, wink, right? It's the reality. I created that space because of the investments that I made in myself to grow. And a lot of times we say, we're going to wait until the kids graduate. We're going to wait until that perfect opportunity. And it never, ever happens. And I think that having this conversation, from listening to you guys and knowing, like, we all feel exactly the same way, but you've got to lead from the front. And when you do, your family actually benefits tremendously from that. The thing that's interesting about investment is that you actually don't know when you sign up for something what you're going to receive until you say yes. Isn't that true? So So investing actually is a faith walk, right? And it's really understanding that you're walking by faith and really not by sight in many ways, because when you signed up for the Giant Experience, you knew you were going to learn to package your knowledge, right, into a high ticket product. You knew that I would share how to price based on the strategies that I teach, so that there's no cap on your income and that you're not trading time for dollars, and that there are tons of models available to you to take your knowledge and put it in systems to monetize. You knew I would talk about marketing in some way so that you didn't have to be a copycat or think you have to steal marketing in order for you to build an amazing business. You wanted to know how to build a business from the comfort of your home or anywhere that you chose, or maybe you wanted to know how to find buyers. You knew that was going to happen in some way. But I think that there's a lot of things that happen that are beyond those things, right? Like, so when you came to the Giant Experience, what would you say for yourself was the most impactful thing that you got that you didn't know you were going to get? Because, like, when I started my business 20 years ago, I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to package my knowledge. That wasn't like it. I want a price to stand in my, no. Yeah, no. What I knew I had to get myself free. And I was really, really in search of incredible models to get myself free. So what was it for you when you came to the Giant Experience that turned, that turned things for you, that allowed you to see your gifts differently?
Oh my God. I'll go first. It was like everything got put together. Like, you helped me see, it's like, yeah, you do have all of this knowledge and all of this experience and all of these gifts and talents and all of these things. And I say that comfortably because I tell people all the time, if you don't acknowledge your gifts and talents, you cannot be thankful for them. So that false humility is not praising, it's not helping nobody, because I can't even thank God for anything that I'm able to do if I can't. I'm so humble that I can't acknowledge it. So there are some things that I'm darn good at. And I've been working and busting my butt to be good at them. This brought everything together for me. And it was like, it's that, when you know that like, I know now that I have something really amazing to offer people that changes people's lives. And I've been able to look back, and I went and asked some people, so what did you get from working with me? Or how about, what did you get working with me when you weren't paying me? Because, we've been working with people for a long time for free.
Yes.
What have you been getting in these conversations? And I had people literally email me, and I was like, wow, okay. It became real for me. It wasn't theory anymore. It was actual. And when I started really sitting with that and realizing it, this is the other thing that will help people. Take that first step to take that risk on you, to invest in yourself, so that your mind can just have that little crack in your mind open wide enough for you to get stuff poured into you. Because when that starts happening, for me, it just solidified everything for me. Like, there is nobody on the planet now that can tell me this will not happen. There's nobody on the planet that will tell me I will not have the career that I want. And I'm sitting in my office now. So I'm literally sitting in another building on my property that's the best office in America. Because I haven't been to, I know a couple other countries I think I got beat, but definitely in America. I get to work from home. And I've been working on this for years, but now I'm doing it from a different place. My mental and emotional and spiritual self, everything is aligned to know this is what you were designed to do. And now I'm actually doing it.
And then your class for the Giant Experience was so good. I mean, you had a class, if I recall. I mean, we had like there was like an Apple TV person that had someone that, right there was so many incredible, smart, sharp women who really wanted the opportunity to be mentored directly, to understand what the options could look like. Because sometimes when you're thinking of packaging your knowledge, you actually don't move because you don't know what it could be. Like, beyond, is it coaching and consulting? Like, how do I merge together 30 plus years of me, into a structure that I can monetize? And how do I do this without working harder, like 60, 70 hours a week?
You give us, I mean, when you say step by step, everything is packaged. So when you get out of the Giant Experience, I registered for the circle while we were in the Giant Experience. As soon as you told us about it, I was on another computer, signing on another screen, signing up. I was like, well, I don't know if it's limited seats, but I'm getting mine now. It is so structured and so well structured that if you just follow the steps, you're going to find growth and you're going to experience change and you're going to see and have help formulating all of these different ideas. So I think some people, because we haven't been able to do it for ourselves, we don't think it can be done.
Right.
And so you got to trust somebody else in their gift.
Yeah.
You got to be able to trust somebody else in their gift. It's like going to the dentist or going to a doctor or going to somebody else. You got to trust them in their gift. I trusted Mia in her gift. And for a lot of women, I think when you are really successful and highly educated, you could be so educated that you go slip over into dumb because you're so smart. You're too smart for your own good, grandma, again. And you think, well, what's she going to teach me? Oh, but let me tell you. Oh, let me tell you what can be pulled out of you that you could not get out of yourself.
And how you can learn from being in the room with people your own ambition level who are doing things that maybe you didn't think about doing yourself, right? And then because they're learning, right, and being coached directly, you now get clear for yourself. Oh yeah.
This is from being in the circle, from another woman in the circle making one comment one night. She said, "Oh, you guys, you need to know how much money there is out there. And if you're you have you get certified and whatever." I got off that night and started my certification. I am now Minority Business Enterprise certified.
Wow.
Nationally. So the things that you learn, there's that direct learning from Mia, and then there's what you learn from your cohort. But even more than what you learn, it's that empowerment thing for me. It's being in a room with so many people that are like-minded. It was almost like I found a place I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I don't want to say this and make it sound like arrogant or anything, but I really believe a lot of people that find you are that person in the room that's like a unicorn. They're that person at work that's the unicorn.
That's right.
And I mean, it just is what it is. And when you are often that one person, or there's just one or two, and you can't connect with that other person, to find a space where there's like a room full of unicorns.
Yes.
Agreed.
Angeline?
So for me, it was very much like what you said, Lisa. Before I actually joined, I watched the webinar, and it connected. I was like, she is me. That's me. You know, this is an African-American woman. She's married. She has children. She worked in a corporate environment, and she took a risk on herself. She's ambitious. She's intelligent. She's smart, and she did it. So could that mean possibly that I could do it too? You know, so for me, initially, it was you, because I related. Like a lot of women, sometimes you're not around, you don't have a circle of women that are the same ambition level or above. Yeah. So in those spaces, you can have a good friendship, but you really can't have like an iron sharpening iron type situation where you can really connect with someone and they're doing the same thing at a higher level, or they think the same way. So to be in that room, Lisa, like you said, it's like a room full of unicorns. And there's so many things that have happened as a result of being in that room. It was almost like things just kind of ignite. You know, somebody may mention something and then you get an idea like, wow, I was thinking something like that, but I didn't think about it in that aspect. So for me, it was the initial, I was able to relate to what you said. Your story resonated with me. I don't consider myself like a catty, woman. I don't, so I'm responsible. I want to take care of my family. I want to do the right thing. So to see another person to be able to do that. And then also what you mentioned and initially was about the soft skills. I never understood the soft skills actually being able to be so the magnitude of that, the power of what those soft skills are. So when you said that you were able to take your training as a corporate trainer and utilize that and just the mom strategy, I'm like, those are real tangible things that can make a tremendous difference in the lives of women if you apply it, because then it becomes a model. So for me, I was like, I have a lot of that. I don't have the degrees. I don't have this formal education in this particular space. Do you have to have a certification to be a consultant? You know, what does that even look like? But to see that you took those soft skills and were able to turn that into this incredible business and support so many women with that resonated with me. And then that gave me the hope that, okay, if she did this and she's just like me, then step out on faith and maybe I could do it too.
I love that. And I think that it's important to be in community with people your own ambition level and above for sure, because then you get to witness someone else who's ahead of you, right? Show you that it's possible. We hear it every single week. And when I say every single week, you know, sometimes it sounds like an exaggeration if you say, like, no, my clients, they do well every single week. Like every single week, someone comes on and says, I closed my first high ticket sale. I pitched this whatever it is, proposal for the very first time. I closed this deal. We've had people who have pitched deals for multi-millions of dollars who never, prior to working with me, never pitched anything. I mean, literally. And we've watched people who had never sold anything ever for the very first time close their first deal for $2,500 or $5,000 or 10 grand and consistently. And we've also watched people change their mindset around their own value, which I think is really important to be in community with the unicorns. I'll use that, Lisa, because when you're in community with the unicorns, okay, and then you watch one of those unicorns do the thing that you thought was impossible, you can no longer believe it. So you get to see that. I think you have a responsibility in the community to grow. And it's just something that I take a stand for in our community, is that, you know, you don't get to show up and be a giant and then decide you're going to step back and we're going to act like that's okay, because your gifts are not for you. You're here to create impact in tremendous ways. And Allie wrote earlier about, you know, how do you know, like, how do you know, what's the separation between bragging and being humble? And I think that, you know, I don't have a perfect explanation for this, but I know for a fact that there's not a person that I've worked with over the last 20 years, the thousands of women that I've had the opportunity to support, that will work with me if I don't tell the truth. And I think that we have a responsibility to tell the truth about our skills and our talents and our abilities to create results. The deal is, the only reason somebody wants to work with you, they want to work with you because you have an ability to create results and transformation in their life. So we have to get comfortable enough with ourselves and in terms of our own esteem to tell the truth, so that our ideal clients who are suffering with whatever it is that we know how to solve, they can raise their hand and more easily say, I am for you. You know, one of the things that I teach you guys is, you don't have to be salesy if you know how to create results for others. My clients come to me because of resonance. They come to me because I have an ability to create results, not only the ability, but a track record that I demonstrate. Why am I telling you this? This is so important because you got a lot of shiny objects on the market. You've got a lot of people that say, I can do this, I've done this here, there, and everywhere. But there's no proof, there's no evidence of what it looks like. You know, inside of many of these communities, people are creating insignificant results. They're focusing on building a blog or building some podcast there no one's watching. They're focusing on changing the name of their business. We've got people who close and sell every single day. They do major things and create tremendous impact because they, for the first time, have learned what to focus on. And for the first time, they've understood that authenticity is their power. I have a question for you guys. And that is, like, as a result of us working together, what would you say is the one result, like the biggest result you created that you're most proud of? And, you know, you can, it's whatever you're comfortable with sharing. But what's the one thing that you'd say, man, like, you know, prior to us working together, I never thought this thing right here was going to happen. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. And I was hesitant because I was thinking, which story do I want to tell? Because you know that we've worked together for 2 years, almost 3 years now.
Yeah,
and
wow.
in that time period, I have had major accomplishments that in a lifetime I never accomplished. And I know you said one, but can I tell like a couple?
You can. The floor is yours.
Okay. So one thing was the you talked about before positioning. So you mentioned in one of our classes that you can write about yourself and you can submit that and you share with us different places that you can share your story. I followed that advice, Lisa, like you said, directly to a T. Didn't have to think about it. It's already there. I followed that. I made a submission about the things that I was doing in the community, the things that my husband and I were doing together. And I submitted that to the Reader's Digest. The Reader's Digest loved the article. They accepted that article. And as a result, we were listed as one of the top 10 nicest places in America. The only restaurant. From that, we were able to be seen, and I'm not even sure how, but it was just about when you talked about strategic positioning. The Kelly Clarkson show reached out to us and said, we heard about your story. We'd love to have you as a guest on our show. And they wanted to bring the whole family out, but during COVID, I was only able to go myself, but I was able to go out to be a guest on the Kelly Clarkson show. And then from there, one of the largest grocery stores in Texas gave us like a $10,000 donation, and it goes on from there. But all of that was as a result of one strategic task or one thing that you taught, and which was positioning, how to position yourself. So owning that and following that step-by-step tool that you gave us did that. And more so than national recognition and being on TV was the fact that I was able to follow this one very simple thing, own it, and feel like a giant about it. And then from that point, achieve this magnitude of success that from that it continues to go. There's so many, I could list results, and it's amazing. Lisa, you said it earlier that sometimes when you look back over it, it's like, wow. When I look back, I'm so impressed with what I've been able to accomplish, because I never had the belief prior to the giant circle that those things were possible for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more than one result, but
it's all, they snowballed, and somebody
snowball. That's right.
The difference between bragging and being humble. Bragging is when you're doing it for no reason. That's how I learned. You just telling how fabulous you are for no. There's no end game. What you just shared, that's not bragging. That's just what has happened.
Right.
That's what has happened, and you have blessed other people. Like, your story is so long. I could have gave you 10 more minutes, and we still would have. You people don't understand. You have to come on the inside to hear some of the other things that have happened, because I've listened to your story, and it's like I was there with you. I'm so proud. For me, it was one of the immediate things was, first of all, understanding that what I have been giving away had value. What I have been giving away had value, and I'm doing it out of the goodness of my heart. And but they're my friends, or it's my family, but I don't want to. And I didn't know I could package this little bit of stuff that I have been doing. And as soon as I figured it out, I had a girlfriend, and it was like almost $7,500 worth of work that I would have a month before would have been doing for free, or we'd have been bartering something. And when I explained it to her, she was like, oh, well, that makes perfectly good sense. And so what I felt good about, because sometimes the hardest people to have these changes with are those close to you. Your family and your friends, because they're more likely to go, I know you're not going to charge me. And I'd be like, I know you want to pay me and bless me for these things that I'm about to do for you, because you would be. So that was one thing. And then the other thing, I just had 2 speaking engagements. I had 2 speaking engagements, and I've done speaking engagements before, but I positioned myself differently when they came to me and had a different kind of conversation to make sure that I was going to get something out of it, even if they couldn't necessarily pay me. One of them, I'm on a board, so legally they can't pay me, but I could get photos and I could get video and I can have marketing stuff, and I will be getting testimonies. So it's really learning to think like a business person on my own behalf all the time when those opportunities present, where sometimes those opportunities would have gone by and I might have missed them.
So I love this, because I think it's so important to, a lot of times when we see what's happening online. You don't know what's real. You don't know if people really create results on the inside, or is it just the hype? You know what I mean? Or is it just the marketing? And I would say one of the things I think equally as important is thinking about the people who have inspired us, who you've had the opportunity to meet inside of the community. Like, who's one person, and you could just maybe not say their name, or you could say their first name only, but what's one thing that one person's done, or not their name at all, but you could just say their story, that there's something they've done that when you watch them achieve that result, it inspired you to know that there was another level for you. Because I think that's important, because sometimes we're not ready to run ourselves, or we think, but then you see somebody else do something that you're like, what? And
Yeah.
then it allows you to grow your own belief. Does that make sense?
Yes. I have one in particular. Mia, I don't remember the young lady's name, but she pitched, I think, either a course or a curriculum to a school district, and they purchased that entire curriculum, and it was massive. I don't remember what it was, but that story, after I hung up the call that night, I probably sit in my head for like an hour. You know how you can see things like calculations in your head? It was just going on. As a result of that conversation, I then pitched to the county and the city, and I'm currently doing another project like that right now. The magnitude of this project has a floor of about $500,000, and it has a cap of $9 million. But the concept is one of the ones that I learned on the call. And the concept that dial it back a little bit was the model that you taught about, the one-to-many model.
Yeah.
So rather than that service that I'm offering to entrepreneurs to teach them how to do some of the things that I'm doing one-on-one, this was pitching it to a school district so that they could purchase that curriculum. I could license that curriculum, and then that's a one-to-many model, but I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to do anything else, but they purchase it on a district-wide level. And then it kind of, it repeats itself. And then from there, it presents additional opportunities. But that conversation that night, I won one deal from that, and then I'm in the process of another one. But I wouldn't, when she said that, I was like, that is it.
That's the magic of being a giant in the room. You cannot learn that on a live. Like, you are never going to learn on a live that's free, once a week. You're not. You have to make an investment in yourself to be on the inside, to hear those things. It's really, really important it happens. What about you, Lisa? Someone that you heard, you don't have to say their name because, but that their story inspired you.
Well, I know which one you're talking about, and I think the number was $144,000.
That was it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And when she left, she was thinking like 25,000 or 35,000.
Yes, that's it.
She ended up leaving with $144,000
Yes.
deal to the school district. And I'm on the one-to-many too, because I have something that I've packaged from being on our calls. It's like, okay, so I got this idea, and instead of saying, oh, I have a book I want to sell on Amazon. Well, the book's already selling on Amazon.
Yeah.
But why am I going to sell one book one at a time when I got school districts and juvenile detention centers and women's homes and and so it's that one-to-many model for me to create this packaged item that I can sell to larger groups. And it's realizing that I can step into that space.
Yeah.
I don't have to just do one-to-ones.
I love it.
Where do you live? Because I need to. Where are you? Are you in Texas?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Oh, Texas. Okay, I gotta come.
That's okay. We work from the comfort of our home. We can make a connection whenever we want.
I know, but I want to come. I want to come eat.
So, I love this, and I love the synergy that you guys have, and it's so cool. I love hearing the stories each and every week, but I love some of my favorite stories are when you have someone that's afraid to sell, and then you walk somebody through like what to say or how to say it or what the gap might be, or role playing with them in real time, and then watch them come back a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, now being able to step into what they could have already done. Yes. They just didn't have the accountability. They didn't have the mentorship, the direct mentorship to say like, okay, look, tell me what happened. How much did they say? Or, what's going on? And that really does make a difference. And that's something that's really important. So, what is it that I have not asked you that
Mm.
you think is important to share with everyone? So,
You just touched on one of the things that I think is huge. My dissertation was on mentoring. It was on Black women and white women and mentoring, because I was working in corporate America and I was seeing the great divide.
mhm,
And they were not being, it wasn't equal, it wasn't equitable. And it was like, what can be done so that we can come together and learn to help each other? And I
mhm,
was like, well, I don't know about corporate, but the giant circle has figured that out. And I watched you about 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, do just what you said with someone who knew they had a meeting coming up and they weren't sure how to position this conversation. And so when I was on in the master class, I won the package of your sales calls.
yeah,
Because when she said, oh, we're going to have a contest and all you have to do is blah, 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 I was already like, bing. I was like, oh, there's nobody's going to get this away from me. And your sales calls, I have been doing sales forever. I've had some really good folks trained in sales. What I love about yours is it's not salesy.
yeah,
It is a conversation
mhm,
that has people say, okay, well, how can I sign up? Or how do you think you can work with me? Or so, well, what would this look like when could I start?
mhm,
And it's being able to listen. You teach us to listen
mhm,
for what they need and how we can actually service them. And what I love when you talked about authenticity in the beginning of this thing, that's how you show up. And so it's easy to be authentic in this because all of our learning is from that place. And
correct.
so I know I really can't help someone, then I can't help them.
Yes,
Like it's okay. And if I know someone who can, I'm referring them. It's like Miracle on 34th Street when
that's
Santa
right.
Claus and Macy sent them to the other department store. It's that.
Well, that's a different way to offer your services too,
Yes.
right? Like, because the thing that is the separator is that so many people are, if someone says, I want to buy, they say, give me the money. But at the end of the day, what you want is to work with people that you can support them and
Results.
create amazing results for,
Yes.
and holding a space for that. And we have a community of people who that's what they desire.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important. I think that's the thing that will separate any of our services. It's just being in that place. I mean, can you imagine if you work with someone and over the course of a year or 2 years, there's no results? 2, 3 people are getting significant results. Well, at the end of the day, that's not the kind of culture that gets everyone to win. What gets people to win is to make sure that your systems, you decide, like, I'm only in this business to help people solve their problems. And the evidence of that is a community that's growing, and they're growing in a way that they're creating results. If you have an ability to transfer what you do to others, you're going to see those changes happening, and they're going to happen over and over and over again. And that's something that I think is really important. Angeline, what did you want to add?
I wanted to add that one thing that I have taken away from being a part of this community is that you can't put a price tag on, is knowing my value and my worth and my belief system. I think, Mia, your biggest challenge with me was getting me to accept that about myself, because I had that. And when we initially had our very first call, you said, well, what do you want to make, at the end of the year? If this was a perfect world, what would you make? And I cringed at saying $100,000. And you were like, okay, you were very patient, through the process. So I wasn't intimidated. Some people, you would feel intimidated, or you feel, for me, and I don't know why, because I have a big personality. So I don't know why sometimes in those rooms I feel small. But one thing that I've taken away from that is owning that. And Lisa, like you said, not in an arrogant or braggadocious way, but in a very proud, confident way, to say, I know the value that I bring to the table. And you taught us how to price out that result. So this is I'm not pricing this based on the hour or 15 minutes or however long it took for us to have the conversation. The impact that this is going to make for your life is going to be tremendous. We've made that impact, Lisa, for free time and time and time again, and seen that result. But walking away from this, one of the biggest things that I want to, or that I'm grateful for and appreciative of, is being in a community of people that gave me the confidence and the support to know that yes, you are valuable. Yes, the skill and the talent and the gift that you do have is very needed, especially in the economy that we're in right now, and that you can stand in and stand tall in that and own it, and you can price accordingly. That's the one takeaway.
I love this because the thing is, we have just experienced COVID, right? And the reality is that there were a lot of people who felt like during COVID, you couldn't earn more money. You couldn't hit six figures. You couldn't sell what you knew for tens of thousands of dollars or more. You couldn't sell what you were doing for high ticket, that the market was saturated. I mean, there were lots of people who were saying, look, do what you're doing, do it for free, do it for $97, do it for low ticket, just give it away and wait it out. And what you all witnessed is the opposite of that. You've seen in our community that there are people throughout COVID and currently each and every month who crushed it because that is not the belief system that we have, because they get direct step-by-step instruction on how they can take their skills, not a cookie cutter approach, because we're all different, right? And how they can leverage what they're doing in completely different ways. And I think that that's really important. Are you guys open for a couple of questions from the viewers? I don't know if they have questions. And I want to say that we're open at answering questions, but there's not going to be anything specific about your business that you would share, like, a lead, a contact, or anything like that. But just in general, if you have a question about mindset, if you have a question about getting started, or if you just want to share something that has inspired you being here today for the Results Incubator, I can't think of a better guest than you guys, because energetically you're so real. And that's really important to me, that my clients, you're authentic, that you understand that your gifts will make room for you. So it's your gifts, right? And that's where all your power comes from, right? Like literally not being a smaller version of anyone, right? Not Google searching your purpose. Been talking about this like 20 years. The reality is what makes each of you amazing is that you're you. So if you have a question, you can post it below. If you have a comment, we would love to hear it. Do you want more success Results Incubator shows? I'd love to bring them. We would love to hear from you. Paula, one of the giants, says, I appreciate how you help us see our growth when we don't see it ourselves. And I think that is always really important in any type of coaching, relationship. And that's how you know what resonates. And then there's a user, we don't know your name, that says giants in the room. So I'm assuming that there's another giant that has written that. We can't see your name, okay? Also, let's see, any other comments? Paula writes, dynamic women in the circle. I love that. And they are dynamic. I was just so excited. And I thought I saw also Anita here that shared. She said, love y'all. So isn't it interesting that you each are, you sign up for a coaching program, and you end up meeting Anita, and you meet other women who eventually become another broader network for you to connect with. Yolanda writes, being authentic for me is aligning my thoughts with my actions, becoming the best version of me by doing what I love to do. I love that. And I love that picture also. So we have a couple of comments here.
Can I say something that I see on the screen? Yes. And it was the same thing, that because she used the scripture, she said that the Bible talks about being humble. So one of my masters, I told you I owe a lot of money, is in Christian studies. So I had to look this up for you. Proverbs 28:1, the wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. It's okay for you to be bold in your gift because God gave them to you.
Okay. I love it. Paula writes, I already said this. Oh, she wrote, how encouraging were your family and friends? So that's important, because sometimes when you are launching something different, I don't know if this was something that happened for each and every one of you, but I decided to be a mom coach, and no one knew what a mom coach was. So my parents for a long time would talk about career related things, but not to me. Only to my husband. They're like, mom coach, what is that? Okay. So did you experience any of that in your business?
Yes, I'll respond to that one. So, because the way that we think as giants is sometimes innovative and it's trailblazing, it's never been done before. To me, you can't always go to friends and family to get that support, because for me, I think so far outside of the box that when I'm talking to people, I just kind of get this. Okay. You want to do what? It's like I'm gonna call. You say something that's so extreme. It's like I'm gonna solve all of the food's insecurity in Harris County. They're like, all right, and they're asking my husband, like, is she okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I just think really big, but I can't get that support from that group, which is why, to me, it's super important to make the investment into people that get it. Because when I had these massive ideas that nobody in my family understood, and they were this close to contacting mental health solutions, like maybe she's really lost it, Lisa. I come into a room of giants, and not only do they get it, but then you get the chief giant that says, not only are you going to do it, but here's how you're going to do it, and here's step by step. And I'm like, I'm in the right place. This is it. But to me, Paula, that's what you do. If you have that support in your family, wonderful. You grab hold to those one or two people that are very supportive and can see and encompass that vision. If you don't, you decide to make the investment into yourself, into a room of women that do.
Yeah, I remember when I told my husband I want to go to work as myself, and he said, I hope someone pays you to be you. That's what he said. Okay, it was like, and then years later, he came to one of my conferences, the Time for Mommy conference with the kids, and he said, I didn't see it. He's like, I didn't see it, but she worked it, and now I realized, like, wow, she could see something I couldn't see. So thank goodness for stepping into that. And I think that's important because a lot of women will go to their friends or to their spouse and say, babe, do you think I should, invest in myself? You think I should launch this business? And I think my husband was thinking, do you think you should launch it? And thank goodness I decided to move forward, with and trust myself because it changed my life and it changed my family's life. And that's really important. There's another question. Oh, well, there's another comment. Being bold in your gift. I love the way that you said that. Rose has said that to you guys. And you got to be bold in your gift. I think that's the only way that your ideal clients know that you actually do this. Think about all the people who are bold in their gift and they are fake, frauds, and phonies. Okay.
Ooh.
They don't actually do those things. And
Do
and
you
then
know how much bold mediocrity is out here? Like, I am blown away. Like, some days it makes me want to cry and makes me motivated at the same time. I'm like, they're not offering anything, but they don't. There's no results, but they are so bold in that offer. They're like, people are buying it, and you're like, nothing's happening.
Yes, exactly. So you have a responsibility to tell the truth and share what it is that you know how to do. And then Kathy, hey Kathy, says, you had a dream about me on Saturday night. Okay, all right. And you had a circle of people you supported. And this live talk is very inspirational. Yeah, I do the giant circle, so that's probably what you dreamt about. And I have hosted the giant circle for years. And it's been a game changer. It's supported so many women having that connection with one another, a safe place where they can share their ideas, and really bounce off ideas with the mentor that's touchable, not untouchable. Really, that's really important. And then Anita says, "I love this format." She wants to see more. Like, it wasn't even with an E, with like two R's, right? Like more. And that's exciting. I mean, I know that you guys got tremendous value tonight because this really was so exciting. And Lisa, Angeline, Lisa, you guys are incredibly awesome. And it's been an honor to have the opportunity to, just mentor you. And I'm excited to see, where you're going to go from this moment forward. And, just looking at all that you know. And the coolest thing is like everything you know becomes part of your toolkit. You get to use it forever. Okay. You get to use it forever. And that's the exponential part of investing in yourself. That's really how it works. So if you're
Yeah.
watching today and you're like, Mia, what do I do? This is so interesting. How do I get started with you? Well, my recommendation would be if you haven't seen my webinar, then that's a great place to start. It's 100% free. I'm going to post a link at miaredrick.com here, and you can go there. You'll see the link to my webinar there. But if you've seen my webinar already, that's 100% free. Take that next step and sign up for the Giant Experience Master Training. It is an incredible masterclass where I mentor you over the course of 2 days, answer your questions directly, talk strategy, processes, give you the structure of how to take your knowledge. And for the very first time, what are the options? What could it look like so that you're not trying to figure it out yourself? But we get to co-create together, and then you get to do it in a way that you learn how to build a business that's time rich, which to me is everything. What do you guys, I mean, you both are talking about working from home. When you think about time rich, like, first of all, did you ever use the term time rich before? Had you ever heard the term?
I hadn't used it, and I was like, it's so perfect because that's where your time and energy is what we have, and you get 24 hours, so you don't get to change the clock. But the fact that I was able to take 2 walls out of my garage today after I had 2 meetings from my cubicle and look like a construction worker and then go take a shower and be here for this, and I have not left my property, that is heaven on earth.
It
Yes.
is. So when you think of time rich, like, okay, so just for someone that doesn't know what it is, what does time rich mean to you? And it could be like your definition, or it could be how you get to experience it in your life. So explain that to us.
So to me, time rich, you're right. I had not heard of the term before. And I asked, what does that mean specifically? And what that looks like for me is being able to still earn and still be profitable, but not work 60 to 80-hour work weeks as you do sometimes when you think of entrepreneurship. And the physical manifestation of that is like that today, my husband and I went to one of the properties that we're currently working with for one of the after school programs that we, Lisa, were able to secure one of those contracts for. So we went and we provided breakfast and lunch, and at 11 o'clock, the location is on a lake. So afterwards we were able to just sit and, just look at the lake. We went and had breakfast. We came back and we took naps. That's time rich. And I was just, we both were like, this is our life, and it's like we really have an opportunity to enjoy life. I recently lost my dad, but before losing my dad, I had an opportunity to spend time with him. I got a chance to cook food for him. It wasn't like I had to rush off work, come take care of my daughter, go take care of my dad. I had time to be able to live and really give fully myself to the things and the people that were most important to me that I would not have been able to do had I not made the investment into myself to know that this type of life is possible.
Isn't that powerful? What about you, Lisa?
It's not trading dollars for hours. Is that's your other one? What is it? How do you say it?
That's good.
Not trading dollars for hours. And when I heard that, I was like, it's that. It's not trading dollars for, it's not transactional. We are learning how to design lives based around the value that we offer, not the time that we invest. Because if it took me 15 minutes to help somebody find a solution, that 15 minutes for them was 4 degrees, 35 years in corporate. It wasn't 15 minutes for me to come to you with that information to help you. And it's learning how to package it based on the value. So I don't want to trade dollars for hours. I don't want to be an hourly employee on my own clock.
Right.
The value of what I provide is not hourly. And so getting that mindset was huge for me. And that's stepping out on faith. You got to step out on faith because you got to believe it. You got to believe it. And then you got to trust that other people are going to see it. And it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, that's so good because I think a lot of times when people hear like time rich and they're used to everywhere saying time freedom, but is that really real? Like, are these women actually building businesses and they're not slaving every single day, working 9 to 5? I think one of the greatest things is to be able to build the business around the life you desire and to set up the models in your business that allow you to do exactly that. And that's been one of the biggest rewards is being able to be present for the things that matter the most to me. And what you both have shared is exactly that, designing a life on your own terms and building a business around that. We all know what that 40, 60, 70-hour work week looks like. And I think that understand that you don't have to kill yourself in order to generate income. I think being time rich also means not having a cap on your income. When you are trading time for dollars, your income is going to be capped because you can't sell but so many hours if you're trading time for dollars. When you understand instead how to build a business based on leverage, which you learned at the Giant Experience Master Training, it's a game changer. So I want to thank you for being here tonight. And I want to thank our audience. And those of you who are watching the replay, thank you. Post your comments here. And we look forward to seeing you next week with another results incubator and surprise guest. And you guys did great considering you didn't know any of the questions.
We had a good teacher.
Yeah, right. We've been in a circle.
You're being yourself. And when you talk about what you know about, there's always an answer. And that's one of the most powerful things. I want to thank you for your time tonight. And I look forward to seeing many of you inside of the Giant Experience. June 25th, 26th is our next live class. You get 10 plus hours of our master training instantly when you sign up. But more importantly, you finally get the answers that you've been looking for and the direct mentorship that will support you. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. I love you guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Good night. I know.